my name is Elise, and I'm an RN here in the breastfeeding clinic today with new mom Toni and her little girl Michelle. We are going to chat a bit with Toni and see if we can address some of her concerns. Toni, why don't you start by telling us how old Michelle is?
Well, Michelle's 5 weeks old now.
Congratulations on your new baby. And what is it that brings you into the clinic today?
Well, I'm a trans woman and I've used hormone therapy to induce lactation. I feel like we've been doing really well with breastfeeding. I feed Michelle on demand and then pump after she's done feeding, but at our last checkup, the family doctor was concerned she wasn't gaining enough weight.
Well, it sounds like you've been doing really well with getting into a breastfeeding and pumping routine that works for you. That's wonderful. How did you feel when you were told that Michelle wasn't gaining enough weight?
Well, I knew that I may not be able to produce a full supply of milk, but at the same time, I'm quite concerned about having to introduce bottles and formula, as I'm really enjoying the bond we've developed through the breastfeeding. And I know she benefits from it as well.
Clearly, you two have developed a wonderful breastfeeding relationship, and it sounds like you're worried about an insufficient milk supply putting an end to that.
Yes, for sure. I want to be able to continue what we've been doing, but I want to make sure Michelle is going to grow to her full potential.
That's a great goal, and it's certainly something we can work on together. If you like, I can tell you about some ways that other parents have supplemented their babies with extra food, and we can come up with a plan together.
Well, that sounds good.
I want to start by asking you, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being not at all confident and 5 being always confident, how confident are you that you can successfully cope with breastfeeding like you have with other challenging tasks?
Maybe 3.5.
Okay, that's fair. You mentioned you weren't crazy about the idea of using bottles. I could show you how to feed Michelle using a cup, as well as a couple ways of supplementing her at the breast.
Okay, great.
Okay, so was there one that you wanted to start with?
Oh, let's try the cup.
Okay, so for the cup feeding method, I'll just have you hold Michelle at an upright angle. That's
Okay.
great, and ensure that she's alert. Okay, and actually, I'll just give you the cup.
Okay.
And you can start by holding the rim of the cup against her bottom lip. That's triggering her rooting reflex. And then just let her lead the process. So she may lap the milk up like a cat or sip the milk. Either way is fine. The only thing you don't want to do is to pour the milk down her throat, since that could cause her to choke.
Okay.
And then if you want to feed her at the breast, you can try, this contraption is called a supplemental nurser. Do you mind if I put it on you? It's like a necklace.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So it just goes on like this. So for this method, you would have the milk in this syringe here.
Mm-hmm.
And is it okay if I touch you?
Yes.
Okay. So the milk is in here and it's going to flow down through this tube. You can tape the tubing right to the breast, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you latch Michelle on just like normal. But when she's taking the nipple into the mouth, she's also taking the end of the tube there.
I see.
And then the additional milk just flows right into her mouth with your own milk. And the great thing about this method is that it's also stimulating your breast to produce milk as well.
That's a great idea.
If you don't want to use all this equipment, you can actually just use a spoon.
Spoon.
So this is something called the drip drop method. And you'd need a support person to help you with this, but they just fill the spoon with milk, and then in a slow and steady stream, you just dribble the milk down from the top of the breast, and it flows right over the nipple and into the baby's mouth.
Okay.
So there's a few methods you can choose from. Do you think any of these methods would work for you and Michelle?
Yes, I would try them all again, but I think the cup one sounds like an easy one to try.
Well, that's great. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked you earlier. So on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being not at all confident and 5 being always confident, how confident are you that you could successfully cope with breastfeeding like you have with other challenging tasks?
I'm feeling 4.5 to 5.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Toni. We've discussed a few different ways to provide supplemental feedings to a baby. At the end of the day, it's important to keep in mind that the amount of milk produced is not as important as the nursing relationship itself.